All right, good afternoon, traders. Today is August 7th, 2025. My name is John Carignan. I am the lead instructor here at the BYOB Trading Room. Thank you for following me, subscribing to me, being a member. Thank you so much for everybody out there in podcast land, digital land, cyber land. Thank you so much for sharing my content, following my content, liking my content. Special shout out to John Jordan, Bob Jordan, Kathy, Sarah Roasted, everybody. Thank you for sharing everything. I appreciate that. All right, let's take a look at the market today, see how we made 2K. I made a lot more, but I lost some trading, trying to, I don't know what happened here, but I lost some on some calls and on some puts, so price action. Please translate, good move, positive, and for end of day and increasing. Yeah, it's a good move. That's positive. We're going back in the other direction. If you look on the 10-minute chart, we're seeing got a 10-minute uptrend coming into the close, which should be good. We're looking for some follow through into the open on Friday. We'll see what happens. All right. Before I get started, I got some things to go over. All right. One of the traders, Doug Campbell from Right Way Options, is going to do an open house on Monday, August 11th, from 9:25 until 4. All right. I'll leave a link in the description. All right, so you can get registered. Let me just say that anytime you can get free education, take advantage of it, especially if you got the time to sit in front there and listen to somebody help you and educate you on options. All right, so if you don't have time, just scan this white box here with your smartphone, and it should pop open a link. Again, select the link, and it'll open up a page on your phone browser, and then just fill out the registration form for that. Other than that, if you're on a desktop, I'll leave a link in the description, and you can just click on that and get registered for the open house on Monday, August 11th. All right, Doug Campbell from Right Way Options. All right, let's talk about the market today. All right, let's still go with 15-minute chart. Okay, you can see a huge gap up. Yesterday was bullish into the close. Okay, and you can see we gapped up sometime in the post market right there. All right, and then we bullied up all the way up to there, and then we came back. All right, kind of exhaustion move right up there into that. Price went up into that exhaustion move, and then from there, where they just sold off all day. Okay, for this morning's trade, we'll hit it with a 5-minute chart. Okay, so I'm going to push this all over here. Okay, so with the 5-minute chart, gapping up like that, I had a lot of positions that were in the money, and I just cashed them out as price gapped up from this location, which is about 632.65, and then we opened up here right at 636.35. So it's about almost a $4 gap. Okay, so any positions that I had were bullish in the SPY. You can see it was a windfall profit for me, gapping up to that area right there. So this buy on the 5-minute chart. All right, now on the 5-minute chart, we had a range this morning. We boxed out the range. So the first 15 minutes was right here. And you can see on that range, I'm going to push it over so I can show you how we traded this morning. Okay, we got a 15-minute opening range here. Okay, so you can see we poked through, but failed to close a candle underneath there. All right, never closed a candle on the top side of the range. Poked through again, never closed a candle. Third time, closed the candle underneath. That was your entry. That was the green. That was the red erases green entry right there. So if I box this out and I use some boxes, so here's a green box. So price went from here, okay, up to, see that top of that candle right here, okay, and now the red candle, all right, the red move, all right, green erases red, right here. Start from up here because we went from that high, and you can see we went down to this low. Okay, so the entry, all right, was right where green erases red, right there. Okay, right in there was our entry, and you can see we had a 10-minute downtrend all the way until 2:30. All right, when price reversed, right at 2:30. Imagine that, right at 2:30. And I mentioned that in the room that 2:30 is a reversal time, and price will probably reverse directions from there. All right, so here's the 10-minute downtrend. Okay, so we had a beautiful 10-minute downtrend. Notice peeling away from VWAP. All right, and you could have stayed in this downtrend. Notice it never closed out until 2:30. All right, when price crossed up the 3 EMA crossed up over the 8, and then we headed back up to VWAP. Okay, so there's SPY on the 10-minute chart. Beautiful 10-minute downtrend right there. Okay, so into the close, we've got a 10-minute uptrend. How about the 2-hour? Okay, on the 2-hour, I'm going to hit this chart right here with the 2-hour. Okay, on the 2-hour, what do we got? We still have a 2-hour uptrend. Believe it or not, I'm going to open this way up so you can see it. All right. So here's the 3 EMA. All right. You can see the 3 is up over the white EMA right here, the 8 EMA. So we still have a 2-hour uptrend. So we got a 2-hour uptrend coming into the close. Now, what's my favorite trade? My favorite trade is a 10-minute uptrend over VWAP. Okay. I like that to be inside a 2-hour uptrend. That's inside of a daily uptrend. That's inside of weekly uptrend, inside of a monthly uptrend. All right. That's my favorite trade. We are bullish right now. So that I want all of those time frames pushing price to the upside, okay, and supporting my position or my entry to buy in here, all right? That's what I want. If I go counter trend, all right, I'm more apt to have that counter trend fail. Now, today didn't fail. We went right down till time of 2:30, and then we stopped, and then they turned around and went back to VWAP. So we'll see what happens, okay? So we failed to put in a higher high today, all right? So we'll see. We'll probably get a lot of waffling around in the morning because we failed to put in a higher high. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. We'll have to take a look at what tomorrow's max pain is anyways. All right, so price action right there. You can see on the SPY, back to the 10-minute chart. Again, first 15 minutes, you got that breakdown candle right there. That was the buy-in right there for some puts to the downside right there. Okay, right there. And that was a red erases green, 10-minute downtrend right down to 2:30 reversal time. Okay, so let's take a look at daily chart for SPY. Okay, so still a higher low and a higher high, closing over a bullish trap. All right, over a bullish trap over the 17 EMA. Okay, if we look at that, I'll pan way out so you can see that. Okay, still at the top of quadrant 4, that's bullish. Still in an uptrend, all right? Still in an uptrend and still at the top of quadrant 4, that is bullish. Okay, so there's SPY. All right, let's take a look at QQQ. Okay, QQQ, still at the top of quadrant 4. All right, and still in an uptrend, making higher lows and higher highs. That's an uptrend. Okay, higher low, higher high, closing over a bullish trap over the 17. Okay, QQQ, bullish, and in an uptrend up there. FNGU. All right, FNGU, same thing, higher low, higher high, closing over bullish cross, over the bullish trap, over the 17 EMA. Up there at the top of quadrant 4 or in the middle of quadrant 4. All right. Still in a downtrend, okay, on FNGU. And they got themselves in a downtrend by popping below these two lows right here. They made a lower low. Okay, so that's a downtrend. All right, now they can negate that downtrend by taking out the high up here. That will negate the downtrend and convert the uptrend. Big takeaway from this is price is still bullish, all right, because price is moving up and over to the right, so that's bullish like that. Okay, up. Okay, again, up. All right, and then over to the right. That's bullish, holding that higher ground, planking up there. Okay, the other thing is we're in a downtrend, but get this, we're not moving down. We're moving up. Notice price action making higher lows and higher highs on these last 3 days. Okay, so that's FNGU on the daily chart. Still bullish, still in a daily downtrend that is not moving down. Okay, so that's FNGU. Let's take a look at IWM. All right, IWM also in a downtrend that's not moving down. See the low? They made a lower low. All right. Again, price action needs to be in the upper third for IWM to stay bullish. We'll see what we got here. See, they closed. I'm going to give it to them. All right, so price action bullish up here in the upper third. All right, but in a downtrend that's not moving down. All right, in a downtrend, not moving down, and bullish up there in the upper third. Today's price action is outside day, higher high, lower low, closing under bearish trap and under the 17 EMA. Let's take a look at Diamond Dow. Diamond Dow outside day, higher high, lower low, up in quadrant 4. Okay, you can see there's quadrant 4. Okay, so that's bullish up there. Also in a downtrend. Okay, see how they put in, there's a low there, they made a lower low, so they're in a downtrend, but get this, it's not moving down, it's moving up. Outside day, higher high, lower low, closing under a bearish trap under the 17 EMA. That's Diamond Dow, downtrend that's not moving down, all right, and up there in quadrant 4, that's bullish, all right. Let's take a look at USO. Okay, USO in a downtrend because they made a lower low. All right, see how they took out this base, these lows right here. Price action is let's see what we got for the crosshairs. Low is 73.32. Low is 73.42. Okay, so higher low, lower high, inside day, closing under the bearish trap under the 17. Again, not in the upper third, so it's neutral and in a downtrend. Neutral and because they made a lower low, all right, and in a downtrend. The good news is they've consolidated on top of the all-time high. That's a bullish outlook, all right, but not that's a neutral outlook. They would have had a bullish outlook had they been able to consolidate up here in the upper third. So there's USL. Let's take a look at UNG. UNG in a bearish head and shoulders pattern. Okay, got that triple top head up top here. Okay, there's your head. Got the right shoulder as a double top right here. Double top left shoulder. One more time. Okay, price action. It's got a low right here. All right, and you can see it's making lower lows. Here's 4 lower lows, another lower low, another, and another lower low right there. Okay, so they're still in a downtrend. Bearish head and shoulders. Okay, price action is down here in the lower third. Okay, obviously because it's in quadrant 1. So any time price down here in the lower third, this is bearish. Now if we look at today's candle, all right, let's zoom in here and see what we got. Got a higher low and a higher high. We closed inside a bearish trap, but under the falling 17. In quadrant 1, that's bearish, still in a downtrend, and underneath this 18-month high anchored VWAP right there. Okay, so downtrend and bearish down in quadrant 1. Let's take a look at GLD. GLD bullish up here in quadrant 4, holding over the 300 number. Okay, they're in a downtrend because they got a couple of lows here. Well, they made a lower low, so that puts them in a downtrend. Price action top of quadrant 4, that's bullish. Okay, if you look at price action here, price moves up and over to the right. Okay, for 3 months straight. They're just planking and filling up on spinach. All right. So that's looking very strong up there. Gold planking up there for that long. That's incredible. All right. I think a move to the upsides coming soon. I would expect it. That's really looking good. Again, price action's in a downtrend, but look, not moving down. See, higher low, and then consolidating up here. All right, so that's gold. So that's bullish up here, but in a downtrend that's not moving down. All right, so there's GLD. Let's take a look at SLV. Silver consolidating over prior consolidation. That is a bullish behavior, a bullish environment up here. Okay, up there in quadrant 4, that's bullish also. Okay, up there quadrant 4, it's bullish. Still in an uptrend, making higher lows and higher highs. Got to tell you, I hope I'm not looking at a bearish head and shoulders right here. Maybe not. But that's bullish, consolidating over prior consolidation. The need to hold over this consolidation. Today's candle is, again, we're bullish because we're up in quadrant 4. It's a higher low and a higher high, closing over a bullish trap over the 17 EMA. Okay, so that's bullish up there and in an uptrend. Let's take a look at our technicals. T21.22. All right, you can see for the most part, today is the 7th. Okay, so we came from the buyer's chop zone right back down to follow the trend line down here. Again, making a series of lower highs and lower lows. All right, consolidating down here in the seller's chop zone. Looking like they're probably going to melt off until they reach a destination. We'll see where they are. Here's T21.22, ending the day inside the seller's chop zone. Got to make a higher high. That's going to be way up here. All right, I'm not seeing it yet. Maybe they can get it done tomorrow. Probably late day tomorrow. T21.23, still got a bearish gap that has not been filled right through here. Still under the 200 SMA. And price action, buying for the first 3 candles, and for the rest of the day, they just sold off. Okay, let's say, yeah, it's a downtrend because they made a lower low right here. There's a low, they made a lower low. T21.23 and caught underneath this 200 SMA. 3-bar chart, still in an uptrend. There's a low right here. Okay, low right here. All right, got a higher low. All right, and it got another higher low. So making higher highs up here and higher lows. So that's bullish, and that's in an uptrend. Now, if you can see it with the quad lines on there, let's take this off. Actually, we can take those off. Just a second here. Let's take this off. Don't really need that. Those are prior all-time highs. Okay, so you can see the quadrant lines up here. Again, price action. Actually, we can move this too. Okay, this is the all-time high right here. Price action is up in quadrant 4. And building out, again, another bearish head and shoulders pattern. So up in quadrant 4, that's bullish up there. Up over the 200 SMA on the bigger time frame, that's bullish up there. Okay, still in an uptrend. All right, but that's bullish up over that 200 SMA and up there in quadrant 4. All right, let's take a look at FNGU. All right, FNGU today got some buying happen today, then mostly all selling into the afternoon. You can see they sold all the way through the 200 SMA and then back up to make a connection with it. All right, so price action coming back to VWAP right there. Okay, so you can see price action, big gap up, and the bears obviously filled the gap there. Okay, price action for FNGU. Again, you can see clearly this is a move up, okay, and then over to the right, okay. Got some waffling around here and there, but all in all, that's bullish doing that all the way up here, okay. So that's bullish hanging out up here. Still in a downtrend because they made lower lows, but price action's bullish up there. That's if I put the quadrant lines on there, and let me see if I can get those on there. And let me see if I can get those on there. And let's go with the daily chart. All right, here we go. So you can see bullish up here in quadrant 4. That's bullish. All right, and you can all right, let's try it again. All right, up. Okay, bullish up here in quadrant 4. All right, but in a downtrend. It's 15-minute. This is the 15-minute chart, but in a downtrend. On the 15-minute chart, they're in an uptrend because they made higher highs right through there. Okay, they did not make lower lows. So in an uptrend on the 15, on the daily, they're in a downtrend. That's FNGU. All right, let's take a look at a few sectors real quick. All right, SMH. All right, not what I wanted. And back here. SMH up here at the top of quadrant 4, that's bullish and still in an uptrend right there. XLK, still bullish up here in quadrant 4 and in an uptrend. All right, again, a little spike there. You haven't made a lower low. Got to come all the way down to probably that candle right there in order to get bearish on XLK. Let's take a look at IYT. IYT closing in the upper third, that's bullish. Up there, bullish, closing in the upper third. Price action today, higher low, higher high. Closing over bearish trap, but under the 17 EMA. So technology and semiconductors are doing well. Financials putting in an outside day, higher high, lower low, closing under a bearish trap under the 17, but still up here in quadrant 4, that's bullish. They're in a downtrend, and they got themselves in a downtrend right here, all right, by taking out that low. And you can see this bearish gap down still has not been filled, all right, so that's it's bullish up here because they're still consolidating over prior consolidation, but unfortunately, we are in a downtrend way up here. Okay, so who knows how far low they want to go? That's the financials. All right, and how I made some money today. Let's take a look at some of that. We'll start off with QQQ. All right, on a lot of these, I just had some open positions that I closed out in the morning. Right here, this one I closed out. This one I closed out. See that? Closed it out in the morning. Okay, just had an open position from the day before. Made some money on that. Again, made some money on that. Had a position that I held in the morning, overnight, and just captured some profit on that, and then just reloaded right through there. Okay, that's 8 days till expiration, 575 calls. All right, that's QQQ right there. The other one was 572 0 DTE calls. Okay, let's take a look at HL. Okay, Hecla Mining. Traded some calls on that. Made $500 on some 1 DTE 750 calls. Okay, you can see price action moved up. Held the higher ground, looking for a breakout to the upside on Hecla Mining. All right, looking good for another breakout up higher, probably well up over 750. All right, so there's Hecla Mining doing real well this morning. All right, let's take a look at SPY. Hi, SPY got some contracts here. Got the 634s calls. All right, again, price action was waffling back and forth here. Traded some calls to make 40K right in there. One penny to 2 pennies, 1 penny to 4 pennies right through there. So 634 calls, 0 DTEs. Definitely don't want to be, probably would have liked to have been holding those into the close as they rise up. But you can see they're only 1 penny and 2 pennies. Not much profit to be had there. 633, 0 DTE calls. Okay, and you can see traded some of the flat ground right through here. All right, highs and lows. Buying the lows, selling the highs. Price action, you can see those 633 calls, 0 DTE, made 16K on those. 5,900 on some 632 calls. Again, sold those right at the beginning of the day. Okay, remember it was a windfall. I had those from the day before, and we opened up higher, gapped up $4, and I just took my profit right away. 11, then we got 1 DTE, 640 calls. Okay, so made 942 on those. Again, I had some of those from the day before, sold them into this morning, and reloaded down here in the evening right here. Okay, so let's talk about what else we want to talk about. 738, okay, 635 calls right there. Okay, again, I had some of those into the close. Had a nice rip right back into VWAP. Here's our price action ripping at the end of the day right into VWAP up there. All right, so there's price action for that. Some 620 puts. These were held over from before, and I exited those early this morning. Probably should have held them as price broke down. I did not. I just wanted to get out with a moderate drawdown on that one. 26K short loss there on some 628 puts. All right, obviously sold some puts up here, bottom here, and you can see price never recovered going back up, so it was hard to get out with any profit at all. And you can see I lost 26K. Same thing on the 637 calls. I accumulated some all through here. Was not able to get out at anywhere near break even, and there's price action tying me up, all right, all day long on those 637 calls. All right, that's it for me for today. All right, see you guys all tomorrow, 8 o'clock. We'll do it again. Thanks, Tex. Thanks, Eric. Thanks, Jim. Thanks, everybody. Hope to see you at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. Thanks for hanging out with us. All right, I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow at 8. Thanks, Farid. Yep. Everybody have a great night.